Yeah, hello.
There's quite a lot going on in terms of mental health. Tell us about the mental health of people during the lockdown period.
Yeah, so I think that the current lockdown period has obviously had an effect on people's mental health. And I think that currently, at the moment, it is very, very difficult for people who might experience things like loneliness, purely because they don't have access to the usual social interactions that they would have. So, obviously, with recent government announcements, we're seeing that eased somewhat. So, that will go a long way to help. But I think that for a lot of people, it's kind of been getting used to the fact that a lot of the coping mechanisms that we usually have in place, and we in some ways may take for granted, have suddenly been taken away from us. So it's kind of been a case for a lot of people of finding new ways that they can continue to practice self-care and take care of their own mental health and well-being during lockdown. And there's been loads of examples of different ways that people have done this. You've seen a lot of the helplines like Release the Pressure and Samaritans get a lot more engagement during this period. But you've also seen a lot of people using this as an opportunity to embrace creative arts and things like that, to encourage themselves to actually take this time out to do things that they enjoy. So I think that, to kind of summarize, it's been definitely challenging for a lot of people, but you see a lot of people kind of adapting the way that they perhaps would usually cope with their mental health to meet that challenge.
I was talking to somebody from the national out branch of mine
Yeah,
yesterday, and they were saying that there'd been something like 1 million hits on their website, or 1 million calls to their, to
yeah.
the particularly to the pandemic page in the last 3 months. That's a huge number. So it just shows you how it has affected people's mental health.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been interesting as well because I know that for us on a local level, in Maidstone and the surrounding areas, we've seen a lot of employers kind of thinking, okay, so if my employees are at home, they're not getting their usual day-to-day interactions with their colleagues, they're perhaps having to adapt to things like childcare. How can we support them with their mental health? Is there anything that we should know? Any ways that we can put measures into place to better support them? So I think in some regards, this whole pandemic has made people a lot more aware of mental health and a lot more aware of the importance of looking out for each other. So I know, and I would imagine National Mind would agree, we've seen a lot more people from all walks of life kind of interacting with what we do, not just for themselves, but for other people as well, which is quite reassuring.
Tell me about your community services.
Yeah, so on a usual level, we offer virtual, well, face-to-face community services. I'm getting ahead of myself there. So these are things like cookery, arts and crafts, a gardening group, a walking group, and a social group. But obviously, with the current outbreak, we haven't been able to offer those face-to-face services because it's not safe to do so. So we have adapted them to offer virtual services. So what we've been doing is offering community groups over Zoom, which are currently our cookery group, our arts and crafts group, a Six Ways to Wellbeing arts and crafts group, which focuses on the 6 ways of wellbeing and kind of looking at how we can use things in the environment around us to promote recycling and have a positive impact on the environment while getting involved in arts and crafts activities. A peer-to-peer support group, which takes place on the fourth Thursday of every month, and also a social group, which is every Thursday. So we've kind of used Zoom as a medium to enable people to continue to have that peer-to-peer support, because as we were saying earlier, it's so easy for people to feel isolated at the moment where we're not able to get out of the house. So actually we found that Zoom in particular has been a really great way for us to continue those usual services and ensure that people are still getting the support that they need during this difficult period.
What about your Reaching Communities program?
Yeah, so this is a big part of the work that we do in Swell, especially, and it is one of our largest programs that we have going on at the moment. So this program was funded last year by the National Lottery Community Fund for 5 years, and it is a program that is offering support in Maidstone and Swell, all tailored around young people's mental health. So we had a lot of delivery lined up ahead of time, and then obviously the COVID-19 outbreak really changed what we've been able to do. So as part of this, we've been looking at how we can offer youth mental health support to young people in Swale and also in Maidstone. So this has taken on a variety of different kind of avenues, if you like. The first of which would be our virtual courses, which help young people to develop coping strategies and also build upon their emotional resilience. So, obviously, at the moment, we're facing really unprecedented circumstances. It may be harder for some young people who don't have the routine of school to really fully understand what's going on. And obviously, that can be distressing for them. So, these courses are all about helping them to better cope with the negative feelings that may come about as a result of that, so that they can take control of those feelings and learn how to better cope with them moving forwards. So that's one facet of this particular program which is available. And then another kind of element of that is a virtual wellbeing cafe. So usually we would have a 2-hour virtual face-to-face wellbeing cafe on a Wednesday night in Maidstone, but because that can't take place at the moment, what we have done is split that cafe into 2 virtual sessions, one on a Tuesday from 4 p.m. till 5 p.m. for 8 to 11-year-olds, and one on a Thursday from 4 p.m. till 5 p.m. for 12 to 17-year-olds, so that young people still get that peer-to-peer support, because it's so crucial that obviously at the moment with things being so uncertain, especially for young people, that they really have an outlet to talk about how they're feeling and to express any uncertainties that they might have. And sometimes that can be very hard for a young person to say to a parent or a carer or somebody who they live with. So it's all about making sure that they have got another outlet to get those feelings out and crucially seek support while doing it. So that's kind of a big part of the Reaching Communities programme, and it's something that will continue for coming years as we continue to develop it and get back to face-to-face services as well.
And you were mentioning sort of courses as part of the Reaching Communities. You also offer quite a lot of comprehensive training courses in addition to that, don't you?
Yeah, we do. One part of that is actually directly funded by the National Lottery Community Fund, again, as part of that programme, and that is mental health awareness training. So this is something which we have always delivered, but during periods of lockdown at the moment, we've been able to really enhance this training and split it into 2 different tiers now. So the idea with this training is your basic mental health awareness training, which is a 2.5-hour session, will look at areas like anxiety, stress, and depression and help people to understand them more. And we've then developed a more enhanced version of this, which is a 3-hour course that goes more in depth into other common mental health problems, such as eating disorders, and looks at how they can have an effect on people as well. And what we've been able to do with the funding from the National Lottery is actually heavily subsidise all these courses. So our Tier 1 course is available for £5 per person, and our Tier 2 course is available for just £10 per person. So the idea is, while people are at home, if they want to learn more about mental health, then they have the opportunity to do that at a price which isn't going to break the bank, and actually which is really accessible, because that's an important part of our overall mission to raise mental health awareness. And then on the flip side of that, some training which we were funded by Kent County Council to begin delivering a couple of years ago at this point is suicide prevention and awareness training. And this training provides insight into the signs that somebody may be feeling suicidal and looks at the ways that you can help that person to address that issue and support them so that they feel better and they're able to de-escalate from that situation. So this has been fully funded by Kent County Council, Transforming Health and Social Care in Kent and Medway, and also Medway Council. And now it is currently taking the form of 3-hour virtual sessions, which can be booked by anyone in Kent without a charge. So the idea is if you want to, again, use this period of time to learn more, then you can book onto virtual training at a time and place which suits you, and then access it from the comfort of your own home. So in many ways, actually, this period of time has enabled us to reach even more people and increase more people's knowledge, because we've been able to make things so accessible through Zoom and other online avenues.
And as well as all that, you've got some additional resources.
Yeah, so obviously we're a Kent-based organisation, and it's important to us, and it's something I feel very strongly about personally, that we work with as many other local partners and organisations as possible, purely because if there is a service that we don't offer, the likelihood is one of our partner organisations or another charity out there will offer that service. So it's so important that we're making people aware of that. So one thing we've done with our website, which is maidstonemind.org, is put together a large resources list of all different resources that people can access during this period of time. So we've got lots of helplines. Obviously, I mentioned Release the Pressure and Samaritans earlier, but there's details of lots of other helplines on there. We've got online activities, so things like virtual museum tours that people can take, mindfulness colouring downloads, online courses through platforms like the Open University, downloadable information, and lots of other stuff, which is all there to emphasize just how much support is out there, and to really emphasize the fact that there is support for everything that you can think of right now out there. I mean, there's information from Kent County Council about how vulnerable people can get support with things like food packages and all that kind of information that people might need right now as well. So it's very much for us being about covering the support that we're offering currently, but also making sure that people are aware of the wider support networks that are in place to get them through this difficult period.
And just remind people about that website again.
Yeah, so it is www.maidstonemind.org.
You sound like you're very, very busy. You haven't got time to worry about too much at the moment. So, how's lockdown been for you, as it were?
So for me personally, it's been, I don't know, it's been interesting. So my job role at Maidstone and Mid-Kent Mind, I am the community engagement officer. So a lot of my day-to-day job is kind of online anyway. I do a lot of our social media, updating our website, working with partners, designing graphics, all that sort of, I suppose, online bubble of work anyway. So I've not really noticed the difference too much. But I've just been making sure that I'm obviously taking time to go out and get exercise, taking time to relax. And I've also made sure that I'm still getting up to an alarm and I've still got some semblance of a routine in my day-to-day life, because I think that's quite important during lockdown as well. But with all of those things, like I say, it's been good. And I think I'm actually the busiest I've ever been, but I'm not complaining. I'm quite enjoying it all at the moment.
Thanks very much for your time, Tom.
Thank you. Take care.